Chosen one, listen carefully, because what you're about to hear explains why their voices changed, why their confidence collapsed, and why the same people who once doubted you are now whispering, "How did you know?" This is not coincidence. This is not luck. This is what happens when Allah grants a servant basira, inner sight, while others are still blinded by ego, deception, and surface-level thinking. You saw patterns before they formed, outcomes before they unfolded, and intentions before they were revealed, not because you were arrogant, but because you stayed sincere when others chose strategy over truth. In this powerful reminder, we're uncovering 7 divine lessons that explain why your calm awareness shook them, why your silence exposed them, and why your certainty made them uncomfortable. If you've ever been underestimated, mocked, or questioned only for people to later panic at how accurate you were, this message is for you. Stay until the end, because the final lesson reveals why Allah never lets His chosen ones be confused for long, and why their shock is actually proof that you were always being guided. Chosen one, understand this with deep certainty. Allah never allowed you to see what you saw by accident, and He never gave you that quiet knowing in your chest without purpose. Because long before their words slipped, before their masks cracked, before their intentions became obvious to anyone else, Allah had already opened your inner sight as a form of divine protection. Not superiority, not ego, but mercy. For when your heart was sincere and your reliance was on Him alone, He sharpened your discernment in ways you couldn't fully explain to people, yet you felt it every time something didn't sit right. Every time a smile felt hollow, every time praise carried hidden envy, and while others dismissed it as overthinking, Allah was teaching you to listen to the fitra He placed inside you, the same fitra that recognizes truth from falsehood without noise. And this is why now they are shaken, asking, "How did you know?" Because they assumed awareness comes from information, when in reality, true insight comes from Allah, who says He is the light of the heavens and the earth, and when He places a portion of that light in the heart of a servant who strives to remain clean in intention, protected from arrogance, and anchored in tawakkul, that servant begins to see beyond behavior into motive, beyond speech into intention, beyond appearances into outcomes, and you didn't expose them, confront them, or announce what you saw, because Allah taught you restraint before. He taught you revelation, silence before explanation, patience before justice, and this restraint is what terrifies them now, because you walked away without accusations, you guarded your heart without drama, you made decisions without needing validation, and only later did their actions confirm what Allah had already shown you, proving that your knowledge was never borrowed from gossip or observation, but gifted directly through spiritual alignment. And this is why they are unsettled, because they cannot comprehend a vision that doesn't come from spying, manipulation, or control, and it humbles them to realize that while they were planning in darkness, Allah was already lighting your path. And while they thought they were ahead of the narrative, Allah had already written the ending in your favor, reminding you that when He chooses to guard a servant, He doesn't always remove the danger sometimes. He simply teaches you to see it before it reaches you. And that, chosen one, is not coincidence. It is divine insight granted only to those who chose Allah when no one was watching. Chosen one, understand this deeply. Your silence was never weakness. It was divine restraint. Because Allah taught you that not every lie deserves a response, and not every provocation deserves your breath. And while they kept talking, explaining, defending, over-justifying, and rewriting stories to control perception, your quiet presence became a mirror that reflected their true intentions back onto them. For when a heart is clean, it does not panic under scrutiny, but when a heart is corrupt, it speaks excessively out of fear. And this is why the more you stayed silent, the louder their contradictions became, the more their timelines fell apart, the more their energy exposed desperation rather than confidence. because truth is calm and falsehood is noisy. And Allah says in meaning that falsehood is bound to perish, yet before it perishes, it thrashes wildly, trying to survive through words, narratives, and manipulation, while you stood firm, without needing to announce your innocence, trusting that Allah is Al-Haq, the absolute truth, and that He defends those who do not rush to defend themselves unjustly. And this silence was not passive, it was disciplined Iman. It was Sabr sharpened by Tawakkul. It was you refusing to enter a battle that Allah had already decided, because every time they spoke, they revealed insecurity. Every time they explained, they exposed guilt. Every time they accused, they described themselves. And people began to notice the imbalance, the excess emotion, the rehearsed lines, while you remained steady, unbothered, unchanged. And this unsettled them deeply, because they expected reaction, they expected fear, they expected you to beg to be understood. But instead they were met with dignity, restraint, and a calm that can only come from someone who knows Allah sees everything, and your silence forced observers to listen more closely to them, and in that listening the truth emerged without you saying a word. Because Allah has a way of making false tongues collapse under their own weight, and what they tried to bury under speech was uncovered by your stillness, proving that when Allah is your defender, your quiet trust becomes louder than their loudest lies. And this is why now they ask in disbelief, "How did you know?" Because they cannot comprehend a faith so strong that it lets Allah speak on your behalf while you remain at peace. Chosen one, understand this deeply and without hesitation. You did not predict the ending because you are arrogant, suspicious, or overly cautious. You saw the ending because Allah, in His mercy, trained your heart to recognize patterns long before outcomes unfold. And this is a gift He only gives to those who have been wounded, purified, and made sincere through repeated trials. Because when Allah allows you to be harmed once, twice, even many times, He is not breaking you. He is teaching your soul how deception moves, how intentions leak through behavior, how tongues contradict actions, and how people reveal their future choices through subtle repetitions they don't even realize they are making. And while others judge situations based on emotions, appearances, or hopeful assumptions, Allah taught you to read consistency, energy, timing, and moral alignment. So when you stepped back early, when you withdrew without drama, when you stopped investing before the collapse, they were shocked not because you left, but because you left before they exposed themselves. And this disturbed them deeply, because it forced them to ask the question that humbles the ego, "How did you know?" And the answer is not mystical guessing or paranoia. The answer is that Allah allowed you to see the pattern. And patterns never lie, people do. And this is why the Qur'an repeatedly calls believers to reflect, to observe, to use insight, because Allah reveals truth gradually to those who walk with sincerity. And when He sees a servant who chooses patience over revenge, silence over slander, and distance over destruction, He sharpens their perception as protection, not superiority. So by the time betrayal was about to manifest, your heart already felt settled, your spirit already disengaged, and your dua already asked Allah to handle what you could not. And this is why they are shaken now, because they thought they were clever, but Allah is Al-Hakim, the most wise. And He let you see the ending early, so you would not be standing in the wreckage explaining how you got hurt, but walking away in peace while they stood stunned, realizing that Allah had already warned you, already guided you, and already saved you. And nothing terrifies the insincere more than realizing they were seen long before they acted. They're shook because you moved before the trap was set, and this was not coincidence, luck, or arrogance. It was divine protection, because when Allah decides to guard one of His servants, He removes them from harm before harm even fully forms, and this is something people who operate in deception can never comprehend. because their entire strategy relies on timing, manipulation, and catching you unaware. Yet Allah already knew what they were planning while they were still congratulating themselves in secret. And He placed an unease in your heart, a quiet resistance, a sudden clarity that made you step back, go silent, detach, or change direction without ever needing proof or confrontation. And this is why they are now asking, "How did you know?" Because they don't realize that Allah shows His chosen ones the danger through patterns, not announcements, through spiritual discomfort, not dramatic signs, and through inner conviction that cannot be explained logically, but feels undeniable in the soul. And when you moved early, you disrupted their entire scheme, because a trap without a target becomes evidence of the trapper, and suddenly their behavior looked strange. Their reactions exposed panic, their words no longer aligned, and their anger surfaced at the wrong time, revealing what they were trying so hard to hide. And this is why they're shaken, not because you attacked them, but because you escaped them with dignity, because nothing terrifies a manipulator more than a person who leaves before being harmed, because it removes their sense of control and exposes their intention without you ever saying a word. And Allah allowed this to happen. So you would learn that protection does not always look like confrontation or victory in public. Sometimes it looks like absence, distance, silence, and timely withdrawal, and the people who meant harm are left staring at an empty space where their plan was supposed to succeed, confused, frustrated, and exposed, while you walk away untouched, stronger in discernment, and more rooted in trust in Allah, because He promised in the Qur'an that He is the best of planners, and when He plans for you, no plot can reach you, no trap can hold you, and no hidden intention can succeed. And this is why they're shook today, not because you revealed their secrets, but because Allah removed you before their secrets could touch you, proving once again that when Allah is protecting you, even unseen dangers lose their power before they are born. Chosen one, understand this truth with the deepest certainty. The ability to see through deception, to recognize intentions behind veiled actions, to perceive what is hidden behind words and smiles, is not something learned from the world, nor does it come from experience alone. It is a gift from Allah, granted only to those whose hearts are sincere, whose intentions are pure, and whose souls are aligned with the path of righteousness. When you find yourself able to detect falsehood before it manifests, to sense the direction of plots and schemes before others even realize they exist, know that this is not your intellect at work alone, nor the result of observation or worldly knowledge. This is divine guidance flowing into your heart as a direct response to your devotion, your patience, your unshakable commitment to Allah's path, and your willingness to surrender to His wisdom. Every time you hesitate yet still perceive truth, every time you remain quiet while the world rushes to judgment, every time you act not out of ego but out of principle, Allah is granting you discernment, sharpening your vision in ways that confuse those who are blinded by their own desires, jealousy, and misguidance. This gift is not given to show superiority, nor is it a tool for arrogance. It is a responsibility, a sacred trust that requires humility, patience, and the unwavering belief that Allah's wisdom is greater than all human understanding. Those who are sincere in their intentions, who seek to serve truth rather than manipulate circumstance, are the ones who can look beyond surface appearances and detect the hidden realities that govern human interactions. When you see through the facades, understand the motives of the heart, and sense the outcome of events before they unfold, remember that this clarity is a direct manifestation of Allah's mercy, a reflection of His illumination within your soul, and a reminder that sincerity is the pathway to divine insight. Your discernment protects you, elevates you, and ensures that your actions are guided not by fear, anger, or the desire for recognition, but by a profound alignment with Allah's will. The world may not understand how you just knew, how you were able to act with precision when others stumbled, or how your calm, measured responses unveiled what was hidden from everyone else. They may call it intuition, luck, or even coincidence, but you know in your heart that it is neither. It is a sacred gift, a divine compass placed within your spirit, activated by your devotion, purified by your sincerity, and sharpened by your conscious choice to remain steadfast in faith. Those who are sincere do not seek this gift for worldly gain. They recognize it as a responsibility, a duty to act with wisdom, fairness, and justice, to protect themselves, to guide others, and to uphold the principles of truth in a world where deception often reigns. Your discernment is both shield and sword. It guards you from harm. It allows you to navigate challenges with clarity, and it provides the foresight necessary to make decisions that align with Allah's plan, even when the world around you is chaotic, manipulative, or blind to reality. When you reflect on the moments you recognized deceit before it took shape, when you understood hidden intentions before others could articulate them, when your silence preserved dignity and your actions revealed truth, remember that every instance was a reminder that sincerity opens doors to divine guidance, that the heart aligned with Allah is a heart empowered with insight, and that this gift of discernment is both a blessing and a responsibility that requires humility, patience, and unwavering reliance on Him. This is why the chosen ones, those who walk with Allah and seek His pleasure above all else, are able to move through the world with an awareness, a clarity, and a calmness that leaves others stunned, perplexed, and ultimately shaken, for they recognize that what they perceive is beyond ordinary understanding. It is the manifestation of Allah's favor upon a heart that remains steadfast, pure, and devoted. Discernment, therefore, is not accidental. It is the reward for sincerity, the proof of divine connection, and the instrument through which the chosen one navigates trials, exposes falsehood, and ensures that every step taken is a reflection of wisdom, faith, and divine guidance. This gift is unshakable, unteachable by worldly means, and unattainable by superficial effort. It belongs to those whose souls are aligned with Allah, whose hearts are anchored in truth, and whose actions echo the sincerity of their devotion. Cherish it, refine it, and act upon it. For in doing so, you honor the one who granted it to you, and you fulfill the sacred responsibility that comes with being among the chosen, the sincere, and the guided. Chosen one, understand this deeply and without doubt. The reason they struggle to understand you, misinterpret your actions, question your silence, and feel unsettled by your presence is because you do not move through life guided solely by surface-level logic, emotion, or impulse. You walk with divine awareness, a consciousness shaped by your connection to Allah, refined through trials, and sharpened by surrender to His wisdom. While they analyze situations only from what is visible, you sense what lies beneath. While they react to words, you read intentions. While they rush toward outcomes driven by ego, fear, or desire, you pause, observe, and act only when alignment with Allah's guidance feels clear. This awareness is not arrogance, nor is it detachment from humanity. It is the result of a heart trained to listen beyond noise, a soul disciplined through patience, and a spirit anchored in Tawakkul. They cannot understand how you remain calm when chaos surrounds you, how you step away from situations others cling to, or how you foresee outcomes without needing validation or explanation, because they are operating from the mind alone, while you are guided by a heart illuminated by divine insight. Allah has taught you, through hardship and solitude, that not everything requires a response, not every battle deserves engagement, and not every opportunity is meant for acceptance. And this wisdom makes you appear unpredictable, distant, or even mysterious to those who rely on manipulation, performance, and control. Your divine awareness allows you to sense misalignment long before it becomes visible, to withdraw without bitterness, to advance without arrogance, and to protect your peace without guilt. And this confuses those who expect emotional reactions, defensiveness, or chaos. They try to understand you using their own framework, competition, insecurity, hidden agendas, but they fail because your framework is different. It is rooted in accountability to Allah, not to people, in purpose over popularity, and in obedience over approval. When you move quietly. When you decide fully. When you detach, you do so without hatred. And when you remain, you do so with intention. And this level of inner alignment unsettles those who depend on predictability, weakness, and emotional leverage to feel powerful. Divine awareness makes you see the cost of engaging in certain spaces before the price is demanded. It makes you recognize when silence is protection and when distance is mercy, and it teaches you that sometimes Allah's guidance is felt as a gentle resistance in the heart rather than a loud sign in the sky. This is why they ask, "How did you know?" Because you did not wait for betrayal to become public, for traps to close, or for intentions to be confessed. You sensed it, not through suspicion, but through spiritual clarity. Allah trained you to observe patterns, to learn from history, to reflect deeply, and to trust what He places in your heart when your intentions are clean, and this training separated you from those who live reactively rather than consciously. Your awareness does not come from superiority, it comes from humility, from knowing how limited human perception is and how vast Allah's knowledge truly is, which is why you consult Him before acting, seek clarity before committing, and choose restraint when others choose noise. They cannot understand why you refuse to explain yourself, why you don't defend your name aggressively, or why you don't chase recognition, because you are not trying to be understood by creation. You are focused on being aligned with the Creator. Divine awareness makes you comfortable with being misunderstood, because you know that clarity with Allah matters more than clarity with people, and this inner security dismantles the psychological games of those who rely on confusion, projection, and emotional provocation. When they attempt to pull you into drama, you disengage. When they try to guilt you, you remain steady. When they test your limits, you calmly remove access. And every time you do this, they feel exposed, not because you attack them, but because your clarity highlights their lack of it. Walking with divine awareness means you understand timing, you respect silence, you value intention over appearance, and you trust that Allah reveals what you need to know exactly when you need to know it, not a moment earlier or later. This is why your life feels guided even in uncertainty, why doors close without regret, and why paths open without force. And those watching from the outside cannot comprehend how you move with such confidence without control, such peace without predictability, and such certainty without constant reassurance. They are unsettled because your presence reminds them that there is a level of perception beyond strategy, beyond manipulation, beyond intellect, a level that only Allah grants to those who purify their intentions, endure their tests with patience, and choose faith over fear. You walk differently because you see differently, and you see differently because Allah has allowed you to, and this divine awareness is not meant to impress the world. It is meant to protect your soul, guide your steps, and ensure that every move you make brings you closer to truth, peace, and alignment with His will, even if it leaves others confused, shaken, and searching for explanations they will never fully grasp. Chosen one, know with absolute certainty that everything you sensed, every moment you foresaw a danger, every time you knew what was coming before others even had a clue, was not mere intuition, not guesswork, and certainly not coincidence. It was Allah's direct protection surrounding you, a divine shield crafted to preserve your soul, your honor, and your purpose in ways that the world cannot comprehend. The clarity you experienced in moments of uncertainty, the awareness that seemed almost impossible to explain, the peace that allowed you to remain unmoved while chaos unfolded around you, this was not luck, it was not training, and it was not a talent developed through worldly methods. It was the mercy of Allah manifesting in your heart, mind, and spirit, allowing you to act decisively, to avoid harm, and to navigate life with a precision that left others bewildered and often unsettled. Those who look at your life, who witness your timing, your decisions, and your calm in situations where others falter, often think you are simply observant or unusually intuitive, but they cannot see the source, the one who planted foresight in your heart, who placed a light in your soul to illuminate paths hidden from ordinary eyes, and who aligned circumstances in your favor even before you understood the depth of the challenge. Every time you moved before a trap was set, every time you avoided conflict without even realizing the danger, every time your choices seemed to reveal understanding beyond your years or experience, it was Allah's protection guiding your steps, guarding your dignity, and ensuring that your journey remained on the path He ordained. The people around you may never comprehend how you just knew, why you acted calmly while others panicked, why your timing was perfect even when the world seemed chaotic. But their lack of understanding is proof of the divine nature of your insight, the sacred alignment of your actions with the unseen wisdom of Allah, and the fact that your life is guided by a hand far greater than any human force. What you thought was a simple realization, a hunch, or a subtle perception was in truth the tangible presence of Allah's mercy, protecting you from harm, shielding you from betrayal, and steering you away from the pitfalls that others walked straight into. This is why your experiences, your calm, and your clarity leave people shook, why they can't comprehend how you always seem a step ahead, and why even their cleverest plots fail to touch you. They cannot see what is obvious to your heart, that Allah Himself is the architect of your foresight, the source of your understanding, and the shield that keeps you safe from harm. Your certainty, your composure, your unwavering ability to act at the right moment are not skills you cultivated alone. They are manifestations of divine protection, reminders that Allah watches over His chosen ones, and proofs that His wisdom governs all things, even the intentions of those around you. The protection you experience is both a comfort and a responsibility, a sacred trust that requires humility, patience, and devotion, for it is not meant for ego, but to preserve your soul, your mission, and your path in life. Every moment of guidance, every whisper of insight, every unexplainable knowing is a direct gift from Allah, reinforcing the truth that your life is under His guardianship, that your decisions are blessed with His awareness, and that your ability to anticipate, avoid, and respond with precision is a tangible sign of His love and protection. Those who doubt, question, or envy cannot grasp it, because they are blind to the unseen. They cannot sense the divine alignment that positions you perfectly in every situation, nor can they feel the calm assurance that comes when your heart is synced with Allah's plan. So when they ask, "How did you know?" or "Why did you act like that?" know in your soul that it was never guesswork, it was never chance, and it was never your own doing alone. It was Allah guarding you, guiding you, and protecting you every step of the way, ensuring that you walk in safety, in wisdom, and in a clarity that will forever leave the world around you, unsettled, amazed, and ultimately humbled by the divine orchestration at work in your life. Remember this always, chosen one. What you knew was never for show, never for arrogance, and never for worldly recognition. It was for your preservation, for the fulfillment of your purpose, and for the demonstration of Allah's mercy, guidance, and protection in ways that only the faithful can perceive and only the sincere can understand. As we close this reflection, remember, chosen one, that the world may never fully understand the depth of your insight, the quiet power of your patience, or the divine awareness guiding every step you take. They may watch, question, and even doubt, but Allah sees the truth of your heart, the sincerity of your intentions, and the purity of your devotion. Every moment you acted with wisdom, every silence that spoke louder than words, every decision made before the trap was set, it was not by chance, and it was never guesswork. This is the protection, the guidance, and the honor bestowed upon you by Allah Himself. And it is a reminder that being chosen comes with a sacred responsibility to walk with integrity, to act with discernment, and to remain steadfast in faith. Even when the world cannot comprehend your journey, let these lessons stay in your heart, guiding you through challenges, shielding you from deception, and empowering you to rise above the confusion and chaos around you. Know this: your awareness is a divine gift, your patience a powerful shield, and your clarity a reflection of Allah's mercy. So move forward with courage, with faith, and with the unshakable confidence that every step you take is guided, protected, and celebrated by the one who knows all things, sees all things, and has destined you for greatness beyond the understanding of those who stand in your path. Walk with conviction, speak with truth, and live as a reminder that when Allah guides, nothing can mislead, when He protects, nothing can harm, and when He blesses, even the world stands amazed at the chosen one He has elevated.